Hello and welcome to the I Am Evolution podcast. Spirit guide and soul sage Raina shares the knowledge of the universe to awaken and raise consciousness within. All of us have forgotten who we are and why we are here. But if we open our minds to new knowledge, we can use duality to achieve different perspectives to regain our unity. When we expand our awareness within, our possibilities become limitless. Let's begin to remember who we truly are and fulfill our mission and purpose to become conscious. And now, let's start the show.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Sessions. I'm your host, Raina, and today is Saturday, March 16, 2024. As always, we're coming live from the Sirius Star System studios right here in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and I thank you for joining me this wonderful weekend. So it is a beautiful weekend now. I am looking at my outside. I have this beautiful view of the pond and the lake with all the ducks and everything, and it is just an amazing day today. So I'm excited to be enjoying this weekend because, I've been working hard the last couple weeks, and it just feels great to have some time off and just kind of get back to doing the things I love, which is the show and everything. So thank you guys so much for joining us for this Saturday, and I want to kind of get right into the show because I'm going to try to keep these at 20 minutes. I know I say this all the time and I always go over, but I'm serious this time. I really am. I'm going to try to keep it at 20 minutes, but if we go over, that's okay too. The thing that the topic today is Lightworkers, like the misconception of Lightworkers and what true healing is. And first, I want to put a disclaimer. I'm not trying to put anyone down. You guys know I love you guys. You guys know that it's my job to help help evolve, the consciousness of this planet and the people with it as I evolve as well. And as my understandings grow and as my mentalism and development grows of consciousness and stuff like that, I love to teach, and help others evolve too, because there's a lot of misconceptions out there, and there's a lot of labels that we like to attach ourselves to, that we kind of say, well, I'm a light worker. And I hear that all the time in the spiritual community. And, if you want to listen to the show and you still want to go calling yourself a light worker, that's fine. Hey, that's fine. But I figured it would be really nice for us to understand this idea of what we call a light worker. And, and the first thing I'm going to say that the idea of a light worker really isn't true. There are no such thing as actual light workers. It's a concept created here because we don't have an understanding of what of how life is. In our DNA, we understand the concepts of light and dark, good and bad, sun and moon, etc., male versus female, and these are all opposite sides. These are all differences that we see that our mind can conceptualize and our brain can conceptualize to understand the differences of what's going on to associate how we live. But when we break down the idea of a light worker, what's the idea of what we're calling ourselves? We're saying, well, it's light, right? I'm a light worker because we hear all the time that we're beings of light. And unfortunately, that is not true. We are not beings of light. We are actually beings of consciousness. And we're beings of consciousness, and we evolve through mentalism and experience through vibration. When we say that we're a light worker, what we're really saying is, well, there's a light side, which is good, right? And then there's a dark side, which is bad. And we all know, if you've paid attention to this show, you know exactly where I'm going with my no words. There is no such thing as good or bad. So to say that we're a light worker means that we're of light, this divine force, fighting against evil, fighting against bad for the sake of humanity. But this is where we folly. This is where our lack of understanding of human consciousness and why we're here kind of falls short in that area. If we look at everything, I always tell people, I'm like, well, you're here to evolve you. You're here to help you. And, even when I was young, I was like, yeah, man, I came into this world, I was like, I really want to change the world. Now, no, I don't want to change the world because I understand that the world is exactly the way it is and the way it needs to be. And I'm only looking to teach those that are on the same path, that are growing, evolving, and that are open to evolving to new consciousness, new concepts, new ideas, new growth, new way of looking at ourselves, and leaving behind these false ideas of good and bad and right and wrong, etc. Because it's in our survival mechanism, our biology, our biological system that says, well, light is good because the sunlight nourishes us. It gives us vitamin D and many other minerals. It helps photosynthesis. It helps the plants. It really helps keep the planet alive. And in that aspect, yes, light is great, but the dark is not bad because we don't have that understanding. So we're labeling something as good because when religion came along, they said, well, man is good, masculine is good, and feminine is bad. The dark is bad. The feminine aspect of ourselves is bad. And so we separated us, and we've developed this idea that there's a light and a dark, which is good and bad, and there is no such thing. And so these ideas, along with positive and negative, are falsities. And so those ideas are just limit us in our understanding of developing of who we are. Because if we see an idea and we say, well, I'm of light and that person who's doing bad things is a bad person. Well, no, that's not true. Then we're not understanding the truth of the reality of the situation. Those people aren't bad. They may lack love. They may be very young souls that lack understanding, lack compassion, etc. When you have done things in your life, and every single one of us has done things in our life, when you have done something and played the bad guy, right? You yourself, you don't consider yourself a bad person, but in somebody else's story, you may have been the bad person, right? And that doesn't mean you are a bad person. You may have done something out of fear, out of insecurity, out of of trying to grasp something and like trying to attach yourself because something gives you meaning. But that doesn't make you a bad person. And so when we start to expand our consciousness and we start to see and we start to think, because mentalism isn't just the mind. A lot of people think like when I said, we evolve through mentalism. Most people think it's the human mind, but it's so much more than that. And I'm going to get into that on another topic because I can go down the rabbit hole for a long time with that. But we have to start understanding and start growing these things. But like when we evolve and we start to see things, we have to start expanding our mind, our consciousness, our mentalism to greater aspects and leave these things. But because when we say that something is light and something is dark, something is good or bad, it's a dualistic judgment. Yes, there is duality to show us other perspectives, because in order for me to gain perspective, I need to see other things happening in order for me to say, hey, maybe my view isn't correct. Maybe something that that I was taught or something that I learned, maybe has some truth to it, but maybe there's a broader aspect to it. And isn't this wonderful? Because if you're really growing in consciousness, this is the way you're thinking. If you're not, then you're going to attach yourself to being a light worker or being on the good side, right and wrong, positive, negative. You're going to attach yourself to all the 3D human experiences that people get caught up in. And this is causing suffering. I know so many people, and I'm not judging you in that, because you have to learn to evolve just like I did, and I'm still learning to evolve as well. But you have to start looking at things and start saying, well, and I see this in a lot of light workers, and I know I'm kind of mixing up my points, but they tie in. But, I see a lot of light workers, they'll sit there and say, well, I'm for the light, I'm for God or the divine source and stuff. And then when something happens in their life, they run on Facebook or social media and they ask for thousands of prayers. Oh, I need help. I need prayers. I need all this stuff. Well, if you're a light worker, then you should not need that stuff, because if you're a true worker of this divine source, then you should already know that you have all the power. But the fact that people attach themselves to this idea of a light worker shows that they're trying to understand, but they're still stuck in this world of limitations and good and bad and right and wrong. And their power is reduced, because that's the problem with self-proclaiming. When you self-proclaim that I'm something, like I don't even like people that I had to tell people that I was a spirit guide, I'm a soul sage, because they're just labels. They don't mean anything. Like I've called myself so many names. And recently in a meditation, I I went back to the void, the ninth dimension, and I was sitting there, and all of a sudden I just opened up a new branch of my consciousness, and I remembered, I was like, oh my God, my name isn't like I know I'm not Raina. This is just a character and stuff, but all this identity evolved, and I was like, oh my God, my name is I forgot about, and I was like, oh my God, I forgot about that. Like, being a human, I forgot that my name was I. And so I joked around with Caleb like this, because he knows, like, in the 9 years he knows me, my name changes every other year. My personality, everything changes constantly, because as I evolve, as I grow, so does the character that I'm playing right now. But when you self-proclaim the title of Lightworker, you're creating a misconceptions that you're a being of light, and you have to start thinking deeper. You have to start thinking, because you're a being of consciousness, mentalism, thought, right? And thought can speak through vibration, because that's what we said, right? Who am I? What can I be? What can I experience? These are sounds. This is vibration. That vibration then turns into energy. And yes, in this 3D world and this universe and everything, yes, energy does give off light. Yes, we do know that. That's how light bulbs work. That's how everything, your computer screens, everything that goes, because that is. And so that misconception alone, we think, well, we're beings of light because we're energy. Well, yes, our physical human bodies are energy, and we process through this idea of energy because we can produce energy, but that idea must die as we evolve. So I'm just looking at the time, guys. I'm trying to stay on track for you guys. But when we are developing our consciousness, we have to understand that you are not here to save anybody. And I know for some of you that are really chasing this idea of saving people, I know this is probably going to hurt and it may offend you and stuff like that, but I'm trying to help you in any way possible. I'm trying to teach you and help you understand who you are and why you're here, because this is going to save you so much time, so much heartache. And I went through this too, even in this lifetime. And that because there was a piece of me that I needed to save or save, because we don't really need saving. We just need to grow and evolve through understanding and love and compassion and to learn. But when we have this urge to save and heal the world, it's actually challenging this disorder of the mind of needing to rescue people, because you've probably had experiences where you've been hurt. When I was younger, yes, I had this, like, I knew what I wanted to do. I knew from a young age what I was here to do. And when Lauren Mock came into my life and trained me and taught me, like, okay, hey, you're a spirit guide. You're from the fifth dimension. You have to remember this stuff. You're also a soul sage. This is what you're capable of. We're going to teach you how to do all this stuff. These are the things that you're going to experience. When I started to do that, like, I knew, but there was a feeling inside me. But when I started to get injured by people, and what I mean by injured is like emotionally and mentally injured by people from getting hurt, and that I started to feel like I needed to save the world. I needed to save others, but really what I was looking for was to heal myself. And so when you realize that the world is perfect the way it is, whether you like it or you don't like it, or whether you fall into the trap of being like, oh my God, this world is terrible. Look at all the destruction. If all we need is love. Well, people, we're not here in this earth. This is our playground. This Earth will never have peace because it needs the chaos. Remember that everything in life is the balance of masculine and feminine energy. It's a dualistic, it's a dualistic experience down here. And so we need the chaos. It's like a roller coaster. If a roller coaster just went up all the time, you would never experience the thrill of coming down and it has to go up and down. And just like your heart beats, boom, 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 in rhythm. Everything has to be in rhythm. And so you need the chaos, you need the pain, you need the suffering, you need these things in order to evolve. So peace on earth will never happen, because if it happens, then we don't need to be here because we've learned everything. And that, and honestly, that's kind of boring. Imagine everyone just being happy all the time and nothing ever happened. We would never have passion, because I even tell Caleb all the time and people, I said, you know what? yes, like I have a temper. If you really know me, yes. When you finally get me to that point, sometimes I explode. And you know what? For the longest time, I would try to fight having a temper, and I do try to control it when I can. But I realized, I was like, you know what? And even Lori was like, look deeper into it. And I said, what do you mean look deeper? I'm supposed to be this spirit guide. I'm supposed to be this fifth dimensional being. I'm supposed to be this consciously evolved person. But I have this temper, and you know, and I go nuts sometimes when it blows its top, like the volcano, you know, it just boom, and Raina goes off. And I realized, I was like, well, you know what? My temper comes from my passion, and my passion that fuels me to do this, to love people, to constantly wake up every day and push and keep doing what I'm doing, even when people are telling me I'm wrong, and that are criticizing my work and everything like that, and fighting against me and laughing at me and looking at me like I got 6 heads on my neck, and that it fuels that. And so that passion also has that, remember, it has that dualistic side. That passion fuels me too, but if I let it boil up, if I don't deal and I don't learn from what it does, then it comes out in a different way, in an explosive way, and then chaos ensues, and then it puts me back into the feminine aspect and says, okay, your masculine energy blew up on you and you let it get out of control. What did you learn? What did you do? And this is the true way. If you're calling yourself a light worker, if you're calling yourself a healer or whatever, this is the true way of healing, is to evolve through self-consciousness, not to lay hands and Reiki and touch therapy and sound therapy and light therapy and all that, which are all wonderful things. Trust me, I love all that stuff. It's, but that's not the true way of healing. That's the reason why I got out of doing all these healing modalities. I would get people in my healing room that would come to me week after week. And at first I was like, man, I'm really helping people. And then I realized I was their drug. They would come week after week, not work on anything. And I would always make them feel better. And they'd be like, oh man, Raina, you're awesome. You make me feel great. But I would be like, well, and I would think, I'm like, they're repeating the same patterns. I am their drug. I am their heroin or their weed or their cocaine or their ice cream or whatever drug they prefer. I'm there shopping for clothes every week. And I was like, I'm not healing anybody. And so this idea, this disorder of my mind was saying, well, you're not, I'm not healing anyone. I'm not saving anyone. What's this need to rescue people? What is this need to heal? If I'm and that's when it shifted in me. And I realized I need to encourage self-healing. And like and even to this day, like I go out to my pool leagues and I'm dancing and I look terrible. If you ever see me dance, man, I have no rhythm, but man, I own it. I don't give a care. When a song comes on, I'm jamming out, I'm dancing, and people just sit there and watch and they smile because they see that I'm enjoying it. And what happens is the mood changes on my teams, the mood changes in the area, and people start coming up, and then I see them dancing and doing stuff, and it changes. By self-healing, not going out to prove that you're a light worker to change people. By self-healing is the primary mission, and learning to let go of the ego, let go of the idea of being a light worker, let go of anything your ego attaches to. Because I'm sorry people, but you calling yourself a light worker, or even me saying, like, that's why I didn't want to call myself a spirit guide, because people tend to think, oh, you're more special than somebody else. No, you're not. I am not more special than you, because you are me and I am you. And so, like, it's like, how can I be more special than myself? We are all special. We are all beautiful, wonderful people, but you don't see it yet. And that is why we attach ourselves to these ideas of calling ourselves a light worker or a healer, or I'm of divine. I've talked to angels. I talk to spirit guides. I do all this. I see this all the time on social media. And even when I teach classes and even the retreat coming up, I'm trying to help people evolve through these concepts, because we have to detach our ego. It doesn't matter if I'm called it doesn't matter if I'm called Raina, it doesn't matter if I'm called Miss Raina, it doesn't matter if I'm called Susie Q, Twinkie, Cupcake, whatever you want to call me, it doesn't matter. Even if you want to call me a POS, and that is fine, because it doesn't matter. What matters is who I am, what I'm doing through consciousness, through myself, what I'm realizing, because I'm analyzing everything, I'm looking through everything, and I'm seeing these limitations, and I'm seeing what I'm creating in my mind. That's self-labeled, that's limiting, this is what's holding me back, this is what's causing me chaos. The power dynamic of true healing is the reduction of the attachment. And so remove yourself from this idea of calling yourself a light worker and attaching yourself to this idea that you have to help people. You don't. And I know for a lot of you who opened up, decided that, oh, hey, I'm going to be a healer, and within 6 months you have tables and opened up a business, and that you got to let go of that, people, because true healing takes lifetimes. And even sometimes, and I'll be honest with you, I have been doing this for tens of thousands of years, not even alone on this planet, other planets. I have been doing this a long time, and still I am learning how as humanity and other and beings evolve on other planets, I'm still learning how consciousness is growing through all of us. And sometimes I'm like, well, I don't know anything. Like, how am I supposed to help these people? I really don't know anything. And it's like, and that's the joy of it. When you're out there chasing all these ideas and you're ready to set up and call yourself a healer and get business cards and light workers and all that stuff, the only thing that you're doing is you're creating this constant chain of just attracting people that need you so that you feel good about yourself. And again, I'm not trying to put anybody down. There is a time and place that healing is needed for other people, but you really have to take a look at what you're doing, why you're doing it, and the people that you're attracting. If you're constantly getting the same people in to make them feel good, then what you're really showing yourself is that you're just doing this to feed the ego inside you, to make yourself feel like you're needed in this world. We're at 20 minutes, so I'm going to tell you this, guys. You are needed in this world for you. You need to love yourself. You need to show yourself compassion and understanding. You need to let go of these ideas of being a healer and all this stuff, and just be you. Enjoy life. Have a good time, and just do what you have to do, because it's so much more special that way. It's so much more empowering than just trying to chase all these different things. All right, guys, that's it for today. Really quick before we go, I've been posting on my social media, if you guys are aware of it, about the retreat coming up in July. Please sign up for that. If you are ready to change your life and really evolve through this 5D concept, and really, truly, you want to grow, you really want to evolve, and you're ready to let go of this, this is for serious people. This is for those that are really, really, truly serious about growth in their life. They're not worried about chasing famous people and getting involved in all this wrapped up 3D stuff. But anybody who really wants to make the next jump, please email me at imevolution33@gmail.com, or contact us on our social media. This is going to be a great event. I'm excited for it, and I really hope that you guys will join us. Okay, guys? All right, as always remember to believe in yourself. It's not our abilities, our talents that make us who we are, but it is our choices. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.